What game would you instantly buy if it got remastered and the gameplay was updated? Sly Cooper series. Love the originals and was hoping Sony would tease something for them. Still holding out hope. Me too, man. Keep holding on. Sly Cooper is one of my favorite series of all time. It's a shame, especially with how much that stealth games have advanced, that we don't have a new one. I'm glad we're getting a new Ratchet and Clank. But we need Sly to join him. You're not alone, friend. Elder Scrolls 4th, Oblivion, Morrowind 2, Please, and Arena and Daggerfall. Oblivion and Morrowind were fine for me in terms of playability in the past 5 to 8 years since I was first introduced to the Elder Scrolls games. But it's felt like that's my limit. I tried Arena for about 20 minutes and just couldn't do it due to how outdated the graphics and everything was. If Arena and Daggerfall got remastered to today's graphics and voice acting, I'd absolutely play them in no time at all. I hate that I'm missing out on good Elder Scrolls lore and gameplay just because I can't stand the outdated graphics and lack of voice acting. Arena and Daggerfall need major gameplay updates too, because they do not age well. Half the time, the starting dungeon in Arena is too hard to finish, and some dungeons in Daggerfall literally have no path to the big dungeon treasure. This isn't even getting into annoyances like the unmanageably large maps, confusing stat systems, and crappy procedurally generated quests. The LOTR games, more specifically to Towers and ROTK, never played the first one, but especially ROTK. Played the shit out of that one as a kid, and also Hitman 124. I love the games, but the controls are awful these days. Never played the first one. There actually never was a first one. At least in that specific series. 2 Towers and Return of the King were the only ones. One might think there was a missing Fellowship of the Ring tie-in, but the events of that movie play out in the 2 Towers game. There was however a standalone Fellowship of the Ring game that isn't based on the movie trilogy, and it was pretty mediocre. Oh god. If I'm thinking of the same game as you, that one was a weird experience. I was a kid playing it, but I always remember getting stuck trying to escape the Shire from the ring race as the only mechanic was throwing rocks to distract them. It was so insanely hard that I had to find weird glitches in order to get through it. Did you play the PS2 version? I tried that one and couldn't get past them in the Shire, but the box version was quite different and, to be honest, better. Need for Speed Underground 2. This and Need for Speed Most Wanted. The actual Need for Speed Most Wanted, not whatever came out several years back. I still have divots in my fingers from outrunning all those cops. Black and White. It was so good, and I remember playing it for hours when I was younger. I tried the sequel and it's just not the same. The entire thing is just a brilliant concept. I'd love to see it properly redone with modern AI. Hell yeah. The game redone today would have so much great potential. NVIDIA Hairworks orangutan causing a dynamic tsunami incoming. Metal Gear Solid 1. I dunno. I don't want Psycho Mantis looking in my homework folder. Psycho Mantis knows what you did last night. Golden Sun. Edit. Seeing all the positive replies does my heart good for a series that I hold so close to me. I would love to see what kind of remaster they could do with that game on Switch. The soundtrack already pushed the GBA's sound chip to its limits and the summons actually were big enough to lag the game at times. So the Austin summon animations would be absolutely awe-inspiring with the tech we have now. And sure, maybe spring for some voice acting. If there's a bit of budget left over, couldn't hurt. Some of the lines don't have the bite they should with just Simlish beeps. One of the greatest. I'm just hoping for a proper sequel. Oregon Trail. Redone like Red Dead Redemption. So 10 developers working 1 year on the dysentery effects. Modeling everything in detail. I want the diarrhea physics to be realistic. Or maybe make a mini game out of it where you have to press the one action item repeatedly. Press X to push. Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal 2. Please. Turok. Kirby Air Ride. Every day I pray for this to be re-released. A meteor is approaching the city. Man, you just unlocked a memory for me I forgot I had. I can think of a few right off the top of my head, but if I had to choose one it would probably go to the Legacy of Kain. Soul Reaver. Came here to say this. Honestly, all of the Blood Omen and Legacy of Kain games could be redone and absolutely amazing. Yes, I was going to say Blood Omen. It would be perfect for the action/RPG open world format. Blood Omen is exactly what I came here to say. The gamma play could be terrifying, but the cutscenes broke the atmosphere with their cartoonishness. See also, Nightmare Creatures. Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. I will remain salty over the fate of the KOTOR franchise until my dying day. Imagine if the sequel wasn't rushed and had a proper ending. Imagine that led to Obsidian or BioWare making a proper third entry to conclude the story. Such a damn shame. The cut content mod on PC helps make KOTOR 2 way better, and SWTORGD Knight's story is basically KOTOR 3 by BioWare. But even in spite of the cut content and glitchiness, Dakayao autosave glitches, it's still a fantastic story with amazing voice acting and some great expansions upon things introduced in KOTOR 1, modifying weapons, companion conversations where you learn their history, etc. All it would take is one developer team with 2 to 3 years and some decent funding, and we could have a high quality remake of it. Not 4K and trap, but high quality nonetheless. Godswatter does the protagonist of KOTOR 2 Soda King Ditty. She just gets stabbed in the spine 2 seconds into a fight like some duck injectra. Dozens of hours spent with her? Question mark. Countless challenges overcome. Disputes resolved and planet killer Sith bested. Question mark. Lol, this guy you've never heard of is Suku, or he killed her in 2 secs without really trying. Lol. My dream timeline is EA losing the Star Wars license, Microsoft picking it up and buying the KOTOR rights, and Obsidian making a KOTOR 3 that disavows SWTOR entirely. Never gonna happen. But I can dream. Chrono Trigger. Hands down. Ed never played KOTOR as a kid and just tried in on a whim with an emulator a few months ago. Holy hell. I had no idea what I was missing. I thought Link to the Past was hands down the best SNES game ever made. It's still great, but KOTOR is on another level. The story, time travel design, level design, battle mechanics, and that soundtrack. Absolutely brilliant. Another one to his Secret of Mana. Awesome SNES game. Give it a go sometime, if you haven't already. I second this recommendation. Also Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy III in the US. Saints Row 2. But sadly the devs have said they lost the original code for the game. So a remaster would mean recoding the whole game for a remaster. I think the best hope for anything like that would be a remake. Similar to what Mayfair did, I feel a lot less bad about my own data retention habits when I discover that companies have just lost entire projects that took them tens of thousands of hours of work to make. Spore. I want the option to stay in the predator phase while other species advance, so I can continually harass villages as the arms race of dodging the apex predator reaches futuristic city vs Godzilla levels. Once it's society and above phases, the game gets boring for me. This is my problem with the game for me too. The beginning was a truly original concept, with fun gamma play and the excitement of creation. After the tribal stage, it was just boring. Here's some cool evolution type stuff, it's pretty cool, I think you'll like it, and it's gone. Yeah. And there were really only some very specific parts that were desirable at the endgame of the animal stage. The journey to the top tier ones was fun as you improvised with what you had on the way. But once you got all the parts, it was like, well, what now? No matter how much I wanted to stay in that phase for longer, since it's the best era in the game, it quickly became pointless. Lots of the lower ranked parts looked cooler than the high ranked ones, but there were only a couple of options if you wanted to really min-max. If there's ever some kind of remake, I hope they make it so that instead of having to completely change parts, we could instead choose to upgrade the weaker ones to the maximum rank. Maybe even something like a set bonus mechanic, though that runs the risk of starting to feel like a garden variety RPG. Still, any incentive to stay in the animal era longer would have been great, because that part was amazing while it lasted. Dragon Age Origins. I'd also say Chibi Robo, but that game needs no gamma play alterations. Origins is such an odd game for me. On one hand I love it to pieces. On the other, every time I play it, I'm constantly going, oh ducknut, this part to like every part. can't for the life of me figure out why I love it so much, but I do. Cough cough. Orzamer and the Circle Tower. Lol. Jak and Daxter. One of my big issues with Sony's backwards compatibility, but not much, is that they've left the PS3 to rot. It had the best versions of the Jak games, while the PS4 ones are just PS2 on an emulator. I guess PS5 will keep the PS4 version, and PS6 will be back to you buying it once again. And that's really it. Not much backwards compat, so they can resolve old games again and again. Not even that great of an emulator either. The use of software rendering means that they are only upscaled to 1080p and still have performance issues. Meanwhile PCSX can natively run the games at 4K 60 FPS using hardware rendering. And it doesn't even require super crazy specs to do so. I've played through Jak and Daxter almost as many times as I've played through the Sly Cooper series. PS4 was the second worst experience I had with Jak, second, right after the awful Vita port. Our PCS3 might very well be running the J&D collection flawlessly before Sony ever releases a worthwhile remaster for the PS5. I'm skipping PS5 for now, and it's honestly 70% because it can't run PS1/2 discs when it clearly has the capability. If Sony can't even be that customer friendly, I'm out. After 18 years, I'm not rebooting my favorite games every 8 years, or hooking up 3 boxes under the TV. Legend of the Dragoon. The Darkness/The Darkness 2. Legend of Dragoon was so fucking awesome. Never did beat it, unfortunately. That one back-to-back dragon fight near the end of the game broke me as a kid. One day I'll get my PS2 up and running again and go back through. Banjo-Kazooie. Jimmy use for the ice key. Seriously. Technically on this box version it does something. Mario 64 with Odyssey's engine. I'd love a Super Mario Party. All Mario Party games remastered in one game. With all the boards from 1 to 8. 9 Super honestly are the worst demo. I do love the minigames from Super. Haven't played 9 and 10 enough to make an opinion. Silent Hill 2 and 3. In less than 3 seconds I would be on that shit. Bully! Exclamation mark. That would be lovely. Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction. Do you want me to waste another year of my life? Notices covered. Oh yes. Yes. Now is the time. Warcraft 3. I see what you did there. Honestly, if Blizzard released Warcraft 3, Reforged and it was really good, Idaho 100% buy it and play it every day. A bit newer than most other games in this thread, but the original Assassin's Creed. The story and setting are incredible, but the whole gameplay loop is terrible and the climbing is janky AF. Also no subtitles. WTF Ubisoft. It's the only one in the series that hasn't been remastered already. Mass Effect Trilogy. They apparently are currently remastering them, and I will indeed be buying instantly when released. Edit. Huh. Didn't think so many people were that eager to clap some alien cheeks in remastered glory. Edit 2. Thanks for the gold. We'll bang. Okay. I could see that being a remaster, where you watch a comparison video on YouTube, and they basically just added a camera filter. They are not that bad tech-wise. Especially 2 and 3. I'm assuming retextures and lighting, Ink into how Skyrim or Fable were remastered. But I'm indeed hoping they alter the game mechanics for the first game to be more on par with 2 and 3. My thoughts exactly for me. 1. Gamma Play sorely needs an update to fit in with the sequels. Me 1's Gamma Play was an interesting experiment, but extremely clunky in execution. I honestly think streamlining the loot and stats in Me 2 was the right move, as much as people whined about it at the time. Sure, you'd get people screaming bloody murdering you. Remastered Me 1 with streamlined combat, but it'd be an improvement. Truth be told, none of the Me entries are things you'd play for the combat anyway. It's a game you entirely play for the amazingly realized characters and story. I prefer the many stats from Me 1. My main problem is the inventory system. It gets tedious as duck when you have many different weapons, mods, and ammo types, and then have to painstakingly remove them one at a time when your inventory gets full. Command and Conquer, Generals 0R. Battlefield Bad Company 2. I really love the story in that game. COD World at War was also a good one, I'd say. Bad Company 2 got me into Battlefield, and I always thought the cliffhanger was genuine. Turns out it was just telling me to play the multiplayer. The multiplayer was so good though. It was the first game I played that did destroyable environment well. And I loved the physics of the gravity with snipers. I was never a COD person or anything, but that game had me hooked in multiplayer. That said, I would have loved a sequel for the story. Bad Company 2 is the best multiplayer experience I've ever had. Nothing has come close since for me. I miss that game so ducking much. Viva Pinata 122. I loved playing those games and have so many memories playing with my little brother. I still have the games in the system, so now that he has a child, I can't wait to play it with them too. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Instant no-brainer. GTA Vice City and GTA 3rd. You're in luck. I hear they're going to remaster the PS3 classic GTA V for the brand new PS5. Oh, Bethesda Rockstar. You dog. Fallout New Vegas. Edit. Thank you all for the awards, but I didn't expect this to explode up like the bombs dropped on the Nevada desert. Thank you all. You stupid beautiful bastards. Came here to post this, but I'd like to revisit the Mojave a few years after the first game. I can't remember which ending is canon, but I think the setting has potential for a new story. There is no canon ending for FONV yet. While we don't know which faction specifically holds the dam, we know that the Brotherhood is alive and thriving as Elder Maxon made contact with the West Coast chapter recently at the time of Fallout 4, though I'm not sure we'll ever get an answer. Bethesda hates Fallout New Vegas for some reason. Imagine you gave someone 18 months to make a spin-off game for your franchise, and then they embarrass you by making one of the best Western RPGs of all time. Then you make 2 more years later with tons more tech and time invested, and everyone compares it to the random spin-off you paid for, while begging for a sequel. All while Obsidian keeps public saying we'd love to work on Fallout again. So if you wanted, talk to Bethesda. On top of that, Bethesda gave them a Metacritic incentive where, if it received a 85 on Metacritic, the whole team would receive bonuses. The game received an 84 at launch, and Bethesda didn't pay them for missing the 1 point. It became public and Bethesda received lots of backlash, deepening the bad working relationship. One can hope they improve now that Microsoft owns them. Definitely unlikely, but let me hope, damn it. Star Wars Republic Commando. I think a sequel should be released before a remaster. I need closure. Release the remaster and the sequel as a bundle. I'd eat ramen for a month if I had to do so in order to buy it. Maximum Pain. I'd love the first one with updated graphics and gameplay, but same vibe to it. I look for this and Maximum Pain 2 every time this thread is posted. God, those 2 New Jersey levels in Maximum Pain 3 were such a tease. The Legend of Zelda Northeast's Ocarina of Time in VR. I don't even know how that could work, but I'd still buy it. I saw a video on YouTube where a guy got it working in VR on an emulator. Road Rash. Golden E007 for the Switch. There's someone modding every level into Half-Life Alyx. They have most of the damn level done already. We really need a remaster of Crimson Skies. This game has such a fun atmosphere and was very unique. Sim Golf. Being able to build/manage a golf course full of silly little sim people, then play your own course was worth hours of fun. Sid Meier's Pirates. The best pirate game ever. So much fun. And way more depth than most people realized. Sid Meier's Pirates! Exclamation mark. It's still my mom's favorite game, and she plays it all the time. We would kill for a remaster. Prince of Persia Trilogy. I played the shit out of those games. I think there was some recent talk about remaking Sands of Time. Legend of Dragoon. Skies of Arcadia. Final Fantasy IX. I'm glad Legend of Dragoon was so high up. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. That game has a very unique atmosphere and charming gameplay. Oblivion and Skyrim are a little more generic, especially Oblivion. That game generic af. I miss Morrowind. My PC can't play it because of DirectX compatibility issues. Open bracket. Got the soundtrack alone. Goosebumps. That intro song with the sound of water. That first time walking outside and seeing the sun. That game shaped me as a console guy my whole life. I remember firing up Morrowind on my Xbox around 2003. Before, every game I had was open world, and it blew my mind. It's like, you wanna steal those plates off that table? Go ahead. Take everything. Sell it. Oh. And here's a package for a contact in Bamora. Go see him, or not. Whatever. Have fun. I almost couldn't comprehend what was happening. And doing whatever the hell you like until the game warns you that you just killed someone important to the main storyline and there's no way to complete the game without them. And maybe you'd like to load your saved file. Question mark? Close bracket. As compared to later RES games which just flat out won't let you kill important people. The height of Elder Scrolls. It's not that I can kill central characters. That's what people are getting caught up on. It's that I can disrupt the central story. If some smart devs took this little cue and realized that the possibilities are literally endless, they'd almost effortless skate into the next big Pathfinder RPG. Socom 2. I miss an RP in Crossroads. I made it way too far down the list before I saw any sign of Socom. Give me any except the last one. That was COD style. The Sims 2. Sims 2 with Sims 3 open world and customization and Sims 4 graphics would be my perfect game. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.